Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Okay, so 213, page 213. You don't need me to test you, right? Examination. No? Okay. Let's see. Oh, let's go on. On page 213, wrong. The danger in views. In here, the results of wrong views. So the result is actually a very straightforward passage. The result of wrong views is, it results in it has four results, or it results in four different aspects. What is the first result? Is the first result is the unarisen unwholesome qualities arise. For one of wrong view, unarisen unwholesome qualities of mind arise. So that is the first result of having wrong view. And then the second, that means unarisen unwholesome qualities. That means those qualities which lie dormant, or which you really do not have the seeds, but it arises because of wrong view. Okay? So that is the first result of having a wrong view. And then the second result of having a wrong view is unarisen unwholesome qualities of mind increase and expand. So, or arisen unwholesome qualities of mind increase and expand. So the result of having wrong view, the second result is those which have arisen, which are unwholesome, they get to grow wild. So I don't know whether you recall. Okay, I am not going to ask you that one first. I'm going to ask you, do these two results sound very familiar to you? Yes. We've got a yes from the hall. What about from the audience? Yes? So, what do you remember? What do you remember? Anybody remembers? What is it like? What? Nobody? Or you want me to finish off the next two results? Oh, Versha, okay.
It reminds me of when you talked about it in gardening, how you have to weed out and you have to guard against unhealthy weeds.
Yes, yes. That is the first two of the
right effort.
Right effort, yes, 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 the right effort. Okay, that's good, right effort. So, so that, remember, then with a wrong view, then you have the efforts being in the wrong place, right? So the weeds grow. This is weeds. The unwholesome qualities are weeds. So instead of picking the weeds, we allow the weeds to grow wild. And that is really, we don't want that, right? So that is the first two results of having wrong view. And then the next one is unarisen wholesome qualities of mind do not arise. So those which lie dormant, which are wholesome seeds, they don't come out, they don't grow. Okay, so that is the third result of wrong view. And then the fourth result of wrong view is arisen wholesome qualities of mind diminish. Okay, so yes, you have wholesome qualities of the mind. Yes, the seeds have sprouted, but instead of expanding them, multiplying them, strengthening them, it lessens, it diminishes. Because of what? Because of wrong views. Yeah, so that's why this is actually a very simple passage. That's why the Buddha said, having those wrong views, you will end up in these four results. So if one has such a wrong view, that means one's mind and one's life is going to be filled with more weeds than flowers. Right? So we need to be very, very mindful and careful. So he said, what are the results of wrong views? Upon breaking up of the body, that is, upon breaking up of the body, it will lead, the beings are reborn in a state of misery, in the lower world, in hell. Of course you will. Of course one will be reborn in the lower realm, to hell or a state of miseries. Because why? Because all the unwholesome seeds are wild. Right? So instead of improving, instead of multiplying the wholesome deeds, we're actually multiplying the unwholesome deeds. So we have studied from before, the way to a fortunate rebirth is you need to multiply those wholesome deeds rather than unwholesome deeds. So that misery is really just come after death? No, it comes right here in this lifetime. And as I said before, it flowers, and then in next lifetime, when you go into rebirth, you bear the consequences. So this lifetime, how does unwholesome seeds flowers? They bring on miseries. They bring on sufferings. Right? They bring on a tense relationship. They bring on emotions. So right here, right now, if we perform unwholesome seeds, if we perform unwholesome deeds with this wrong view in the back of the mind, this right here, we already suffer. But whether one actually is aware that one is suffering, that's a totally different thing. Right? A lot of people do not think that they are suffering. Do not think that. So they are so ignorant that they do not think that they are suffering. But the flowers have already bloomed, and eventually they will bear fruits, but the fruits will come after birth, after death. So after death, the fruits are ending in lower realm, ending in hell, ending in a state of misery. So we are actually very fortunate to have encountered the teachings of the Buddha, because he is constantly reminding us through so many different teachings, whether it's the Chinese Mahayana teachings, whether it's the original Nikaya, or whether it's through other kind of practices constantly remind us the importance of guarding this mind, the importance of weeding this mind. But we are so ignorant and we are so arrogant that we really always, a lot of times we feel that we are so correct and so right, and even though the opportunity is there for us to change, we won't change. And we can't change because we are not aware. Right? So the result of wrong view is upon breakup of the body, that's the cause. That's the consequence. Okay? And then the second one is all this volition, aspiration, wish, formations all lead to what is undesirable, unwanted, and disagreeable to harm and suffering. This is actually what I was talking about. Right here, right now, we actually already start to suffer, and then later on, when it's taking rebirth, then breaking up of the body after death, then will be reborn in a state of misery, in a bad destination. So that's why the Buddha said, monks, for a person of wrong view, whatever bodily, verbal, or mental conduct he undertakes in accordance with that view, and whatever volition or formations, all lead to what is undesirable, unwanted, disagreeable to harm and suffering. But it's so sad, even though some people are suffering and they do not aware that they are suffering and they do not want to come out of that suffering. I've seen it so often. I've seen it so many times, days in, days out. So be careful. Be careful. That's why right view is the first path is the first part in the Eightfold Noble Path. It's very important. The right view and the right understanding is very, very crucial. Okay, so he actually gave similes at the very, very end at 214. The simile is the first simile is the bitter neem or the bitter cucumber. We call it the bitter gourd or bitter squash that we like to have in the summer. That is a very favorable Chinese and Indian food. You know, Chinese and Indian eats a lot of bitter cucumber. But it says the results of having wrong view is because the view is bad. So just like when a seed of neem or bitter cucumber being planted in moist soil, it transforms any nutrient it obtains from that soil and that water into a fruit with the bitterness. Just like us, we grow bitter squash in Poland. So it takes all the nutrients. The nutrients could be sweet and could be, tasty, but when it goes into that fruit that being produced by that plant, it becomes bitter and harsh and disagreeable taste. Disagreeable to most people, but agreeable to some people. Like Chinese and Indians love bitter squash, especially Chinese with black bean sauce. Oh, just so nice. Or cut it into chunks and fill the middle part, and then pan fry it, and then with black bean sauce on top, it's just so tasty. Even a bitter vegetable could become a very tasty dish. But that was the Buddha simile about wrong view. And then the next wrong view, everybody knows about this. This metaphor is actually a very famous metaphor. It's about the elephant, right? the blind man and the elephant. So these 5 blind men come to. Did he say 5 here? But I remember it's always 5. Anyway, how many? Yeah, I think it's 5. Yes, these 5 blind men come and ask to tell what is an elephant like. How do they feel about the elephant by the king of the elephant by the king. And so then one man said, sorry, excuse me. One man touched the head of the elephants and he said, oh, it's just like a water jar, a water jug, you know. In India, people carry water on the head, big water jug, used to. I don't think they do it anymore, right, Versha? No, they all have city water now, probably. Yeah, okay. So then one blind man touched the head of the elephant and he said, oh, it is like a water jar, a water jug. And that is a wrong view, right? And then the other one touched the ears. So the ears is like, the elephant ears are very big. It's like a winnowing basket. So he said, oh, the elephant is like a winnowing basket. But he's only touching part of the elephant, only the ears of the elephant. And he said, oh, it's a winnowing basket. So it's flopping, right? So, and then the third one touched the tusk. And he said, oh, it's like a plowshare. So the elephant is like a plowshare. But elephant is not like a plowshare. It's only his tusk is like a plowshare. And then it's touching the trunk, the big trunk of the elephant. So, oh, it's like a plow pole. Because it's long and hard and straight. So it's like a plow pole. And the body of the elephant, the 5th blind man touched the body of the elephant. He said, oh, it's just like a storeroom. Like big and wide and hard and rigid. It's like a storeroom. So these are the views of these 5 blind men when they touch just one focal part of the body and they take it as the shape of an elephant. So this is the metaphor that the Buddha actually used. It's the way how people look at things if they have a wrong view. They have a wrong view of, thinking that the elephant is just like a plow pole when they touch the trunk, and it's just like the plowshare. If he touched the tusk, so it's just partly true. Partly true, only 1/5 true. So that is really because why the blind man cannot see, and he was only allowed to touch one part of the body. That's why he actually saw or felt that the elephant was such and such and such, because he wasn't given the whole view. He wasn't given the chance to have the whole feeling of the whole body of the elephant. So that's the result of a wrong view. Okay, so that Buddha said you always have to hold right view, because if you don't, then you don't see the complete picture. Then you will mislead yourself. And so he said, and let's see. Okay, because they are blind and sightless, right? And they do not know what is beneficial and harmful. He said here, when we hold these two kind of wrong views, the elephant, about the blind man, because they are blind and sightless. Then when they start to continue to hold this view about the shape of the elephant, oh no, the elephant is like a plow pole, or the elephant is like a storeroom. I'm holding my view, and he's holding his view, and he is holding his view, and she is holding her view. So it will end up in what? Quarrelsome, yeah, quarrel. And they become quarrelsome, disputations, and wrangling and wounding each other with verbal darts. So this is how actually wrong view lead to misunderstanding, lead to disharmony, lead to fights, and sometimes it could lead to total separation, and or it could sometimes lead to people holding the grudge for their whole life because of this, because of holding wrong view. And this wrong view actually is very difficult to abandon, to let go. Very difficult. I don't know whether you agree with me, because once people hold a certain view in their mind and they view certain people like this, then this person, even though they change eventually in the future, that person, if they hold that view, they don't see those changes. Even they see those changes, sometimes they could think that those are not genuine changes. Those are just play. Or they could be completely blind and don't see at all. So that wrong view is actually very, very, very difficult, because it doesn't give one's opportunity to be happy and to forgive others and to appreciate others. And also it hurts right there all the time when one is holding wrong view about others. It hurts all the time, but they don't know. Okay? So they do not know what is beneficial and harmful. Oh, yeah. Okay? And then they do not know what is the Dhamma and what is not the Dhamma because of holding the wrong view. So I have actually a lot of these personal experience about. I see people holding wrong views. Of course, sometimes I do hold wrong views too, but I could say that I'm very fortunate. Whenever I hold some wrong views, it so happened that within a very short time I would get something from studying, from readings, or from hearing that actually remind me that is a wrong view. And I could come out of it sooner, but of course I would repeat those mistakes again in the future. But those mistakes will be committed less and less. I would make those mistakes less and less frequent and for shorter period of time. Because I don't want to be unhappy. That's the first thing I want to be is I want to be happy. So I don't want to keep on holding those wrong views about others. So if we do hold some grudge against others, remember, we need to really try to dissolve that grudge as soon as possible. Because maybe if we hold a wrong view and we think that people are doing that, then that is actually a very, very silly thing to do, holding that grudge all the time, because it's going to stab you every day and night, stabbing you all the time. That's not the second thought That's the third dot, the fourth dot, the fifth dot. Oh, hundreds of dots and millions of dots, right? So don't be like that. Let go of those. It's not worthwhile. It's not worth it. So they do not know what is the Dhamma and what is not the Dhamma. Of course, with wrong view, how could they know what is Dhamma and what is not Dhamma? I've seen people holding wrong view, but they are meditating. And they think they are great meditators. And they think that they are great practitioners because they go to meditation retreat all the time. But they are holding such wrong views. Whereas in the meditation center, they seem to be happy and happy and wonderful. And then when they come out and everything is wrong, everybody is wrong except him or her. Who's wrong? What's wrong? Yeah, who's wrong and what's wrong? So one has to be really very self-aware. That's the whole thing about meditation. That's the whole thing about practicing, is developing that self-awareness. It's not developing that awareness towards others. Okay, it's our own awareness. And then, therefore, they become quarrelsome at disputations, wrangling and wounding each other. So that's holding wrong view. Okay, so here is the from the divine realms to the infernal. So here is talking about, of course, this deepening one's perspective on the world. So we need to understand. From one kind of world to the other kind of world. What does it like, and what makes it a diva world, and what makes it not a diva world. And even in the diva world, there are many different stages of diva's world. So the differences, disparity, distinction between the instructed noble disciple and the uninstructed worldling. So in here, it says some people dwells pervading one quarter with a mind imbued with loving kindness. Here is mainly talking about loving kindness. So the Buddha said, amongst there are 4 kinds of persons found existing in this world. There are 4 kinds. So I think most of you were at the talk on Saturday. Most of you, I think just a few of you were not there. This is different than the 4 type of horses, though. Remember, okay. So did you pick out which horse are you? Did you find out? Okay. In the beginning and in the end, were you different? At the end of the talk, were you a different horse, or you were the same horse? Huh? Anybody? You are the same horse, or different horse? Nobody can tell me anything. So my talk was a total failure. I wish you were type number 4, and then at the end of the talk you are either type 1 or 2. So you did not say anything, though. So now I could draw. You're number 2 at the end of the talk, or before the talk. Whoever. Okay, can you unmute all of them so that they can? You are unmute. Then can you just turn on your mic and tell me the story?
So I was unable to actually see the talk, but I did all the readings. I was at work on Saturday.
Oh, I see.
But doing the readings, I thought of myself between a 2 and a 3 kind of in a general day-to-day sense.
I see.
So I haven't viewed it yet, but I did get where I can watch it on Facebook from the university.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
once I'm finished, I will have more to say.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Unmute yourself, Jeremy. Then Laurie.
I'm a very stubborn horse sometimes, and depending on the situation, I see myself as sometimes when I'm really bad at 3 and then a 2, and I'm trying to move forward, but at least I'm aware.
Okay,
Yeah.
Good. Okay, great. Thank you. Great. So that's I did what I did on Saturday is beginning of the clock, and I just wanted to share with you those 4 different kind of horses, and so. And then at the end, I wanted you to reflect upon, after listening to the talk, has your views towards life, towards death has changed, and are you more aware of it? Are you more determined to be more diligent because you know that time is running out, or you are aware that it is a very actually urgent matter? That's why I wanted. Yeah. Oh, good. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you. Did you enjoy the talk? Good. Yeah. Okay. You want to say something? Yes, Jonathan.
I enjoy it very much, and I found myself in reflection the rest of the day.
Oh, that's great. Good. Oh, thank you. That's very nice. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good. Okay. So he says here, from the divine realms to the infernal. So he said when some people dwell pervading one quarter with a mind imbued with loving kindness, then likewise the second quarter, the third quarter, and the fourth quarter, and below and across and everywhere. So that means this person is actually taking on this loving kindness a lot, and he likes it, he relishes it, and he's thrilled by it. He is very firm in it, resolves upon it, and dwells in it, and has not lost it when he dies. He is reborn in companionship with the devas of Brahma company. So you can see the result of developing metta. That's why metta is a part in the 4 immeasurable abodes. It's called Brahma Vihara, right? Where Brahma resides. So Brahma doesn't reside just in heaven. Brahma resides in metta, in karuna. Okay, so in the 4 immeasurable abodes. So those, he said here, in all directions, okay? And then he relishes it, takes it, liking it, is thrilled by it. If he's firm, when he dies, he's be reborn in the companionship with the devas of Brahma's company. And the lifespan is an eon. So you all know that an eon is eons of years. That means many, many years. And the lifespan is an eon, and the worldling remains there all his life. And when he has completed the entire lifespan of those devas, he goes to hell, to the animal realm, to the domain of sufferings of spirits. So when the lifespan is completed, he goes to hell, to the animal realm, to the domain of spirits. Why would that be? Because why? In order to be reborn in the Brahma world as a deva, they have a lot of merits. They have actually collected a lot of merits. And they do have some virtues. And so when they die, because they have done so much wholesome deeds. So they have collected so much merits from those wholesome physical, verbal deeds. So when they die, they just go right up to the Diva's world. When we die, there are, after this breath, if we are really, if we have been a wholesome person this lifetime, okay, this lifetime, and we have a whole reservoir, a whole stock of wholesome deeds, wholesome merits in our stock, then we right away go up there in the Diva's world, into the heavenly world. But if this lifetime, or we have a big stock of unwholesome deeds and seeds there, then right away after this death, this life ends, goes down to the lower realms. But a lot of us actually are in the middle class, okay? just like now, middle class. Neither up there, neither going down, so we are floating around. So in the Buddha's teachings, says, you know, especially in Mahayana teachings, it says that it floats around 49 days. Because there is this intermediate state. But whereas in the original teachings of the Buddha, in the Theravadan traditions, they don't talk about the intermediate stage. They don't have that intermediate stage. So that is how fascinating is Mahayana teachings is about, is because there is a lot of teachings about this intermediate state, and why do we need to do this chanting or ceremonies or dedication is to benefit those intermediate state. So these people float around for 49 days and see whether they will where they will take rebirth. Okay, so for those who are born in the Diva's world, once they are up there, is all these sensual pleasures, fulfillment of sensual pleasures, entertaining themselves. So they're constantly what? Using up their credits. And the credit card has only got so much limit, right? Like, you could say, 4 billion, 5 billion. Okay, when those billions of dollars are exhausted, what else do they have? They have the unwholesome seeds. Because the unwholesome seeds are not depleted yet. They haven't served the results of those unwholesome seeds. But the wholesome ones are all gone. So what they left is those unwholesome seeds. So that's why they would just fall down. Fall down from the Diva's world and go right into the lower realms. Okay? So this is why Diva's world is really don't ever wish to be reborn in the Diva's world because you forget to practice unless you make a vow to go to a different kind of Diva world where all these practitioners are still there practicing. Okay, all right. So then the second type of person is they imbued with compassion. Okay, compassion, that's karunas, right? And then they will reborn in the companionship of divas of streaming radiance. Okay, so that means they attain nibbana. And those of course, even though that kind of nibbana, it could be some of them they still have to come back to this human world to live many more lives, 7 lives, sotapanna, right? 7 lives, at least 7 lives. If not, no, at most 7 lives. So a sotapanna still have to come back as human beings into this human world for 7 lives or less. Okay, So the lifespan is 2 eons. Okay, so that is the second one. And the third type is the person imbued with altruistic joy. So they will be reborn in the devas of this refulgent glory. Okay, so that is the let's see which page. It's still page 270. Okay, so and then there will be the fourth type. Oh, this lifespan is 4 eons of life. And then there will be is there one more? Oh, there will be this one, the fourth type of person, yes, imbued with equanimity and reborn in the companionship of devas of great fruits. So this lifespan is 500 eons. But bear in mind, even though they are 500 eons long, they could still come back into the lower realms. Okay? So we have to be very careful. If we do not vow with right view, we could be easily gone into this lower realm after our wholesome seeds are all depleted. So the Buddha said the worldling remains there all his life, and when he has completed the entire lifespan of those devas, he goes to hell. But the Blessed One disciple remains there all his life. That means people who practice the teachings and continue to practice the teachings will remain there all his life. And when he has completed the entire lifespan of those devas, he attains final nibbana in that very same state of existence. So that's the difference between a noble person, a noble disciple, and an ignoble disciple. Right? That means between a person who actually practices or a person who doesn't practice. So that is the difference, okay? So one who practices will not fall back into the hell's realm, or less likely. Okay, so, and the perils of samsara. So the Buddha asked the monks questions. He said, a first point is not discerned of beings roaming and wandering unhindered by ignorance and fettered by craving. He said, monks, this samsara, this cyclic existence is without discoverable beginning. A first point is not discerned. Okay? Then he said, what do you think, monks? What do you think, monks? In the stream of tears that you have shed as you roamed and wandered through this long course of life, weeping and wailing because of being united with the disagreeable and separated from the agreeable, this or the water in the 4 great oceans, which one is more? That is the first question the Buddha actually asked the monks. If you have wandered through the long course, weeping and wailing because you are united with the disagreeable people and you are separated from the agreeable one, and these are 2 sufferings that the Buddha actually taught. 2 types of sufferings. You know, encountering or being with the unpleasant people, or separated from the pleasant ones, from the one who are dear to you. Okay, during life, you are constantly being put in situation that with people that you don't like, to work with, unpleasant people. When we die, we leave behind our dear one. We cannot take them with us, or they cannot take us with them. That's why in the First Nation tradition, when a senior die in the family, they do not allow children to go to funerals. And at the night, in the evening, their houses, they have to close all the curtains. I was told by an elder, because I teach at the hospice, and then all the time there is also an elder who will teach together with us. We talk about spirituality. And I learned that from the elder. And why? Because they said, for example, if it is a grandma or grandpa, and they have grandchildren, they said in their tradition, in the First Nation tradition, they said those little ones will be taken away by the elders, by those deceased, because they do not want to leave the children behind. They love the children too much. Yeah, that's what First Nation believe in. And so that's why they don't allow children to go to funerals. And at night, the whole house, they have to close all the curtains so that the children do not see, or they think that the spirit cannot see through the curtains. But yet, in the Buddha's teachings, it's taught that spirits, or you can say those deceased, they have supernatural powers. They can fly like that. They can penetrate. Have you seen the movie called The Ghost? If not, go and see it. I think Netflix have it. Maybe YouTube have it too, free. That is actually very, very correct depiction of ghost, the power of the ghost, according to the Buddhist teachings. They can hear, they can see through, they can zoom through walls, they can zoom through stainless steel, they can zoom through space. Supernatural power. Out of 6 different kinds of supernatural powers, they have 5. And we don't have one. We don't even have one. Okay. So weeping and wailing. So the tears that you have shed, is it more than the 4 great oceans? And then the monk said, as we understand the Dhamma taught by the Blessed One, Venerable Sir, the stream of tears that we have shed as we roamed and wandered through this long course, weeping and wailing, this alone is more than the water in the 4 great oceans. So the monk the monks, they were very, very smart, very, very wise. So, and then it goes on. The Buddha asked another question. Good, he said, good monks, it is good that you understand the Dhamma taught by me in such a way. Okay? And then the second question he asked is, so you have experienced the loss of a mother, a father, a loss of relatives, and what else? A brother, a sister, and then the death of a son, the death of a daughter, the loss of relatives, the loss of wealth, and all that. So loss through illness, as you have experienced this, weeping and wailing because of being united with the disagreeable and separated from the agreeable, the stream of tears that you have shed is more than the water in the 4 great oceans, right? 4 great oceans. And yes, of course, and for what reason? Because monks, the Buddha said monks, because this world is without discoverable beginning. And it is enough to actually experience revulsion towards all formations. For all formations, that means becoming. And that means because of these these tears that we have shed is greater than the four great oceans, you can see how much sufferings we are going through, we are experiencing by losing a father, a mother, a son, or losing the wealth, or losing the physical body, because we don't understand. He said, we are hindered by ignorance. That's on page 218, okay? He said, we are hindered by ignorance and fettered by craving. And with this, the round of rebirths go round and round, round and round like a merry-go-round and never stop. And he said, it's a beginningless, it's a without discoverable beginning. And you all should recall that actually on page 37, when he talks about the human condition, he says there is without discoverable beginning. Remember the story I have told many times? You go into the forest, you bunch up all these sticks, and you exhaust the whole forest and bunch up all these sticks. The whole forest is gone because you pile them up, you bunch them up, and you say, this is my mother, this is my father, this is my grandmother, this is my grandfather, and this is my great-grandmother, this is my great-grandfather. And you exhaust all those bunches of twigs and trees and leaves that you have cut down from this forest. You still cannot find the original beginning. Right? Even nowadays, with such an advanced science, still the most famous, the most capable scientist, who was that? Hawkins, right? He still could not find where did the world begin. When did the world begin? He said it wasn't begun with the Big Bang. So even science have a limitation, has the limits, right? But the Buddha said it's beginningless. Such a wise teaching. He said, you will never be able to conceive the first point. So he said, he continues to say, this samsara is without discoverable beginning. And the stream of blood that we have shed, is more than the four great oceans. And he said here, when you are beheaded, as you roamed and wandered through this long course of life, is the blood more or the water in the four great oceans more? Of course, it will be the blood. So he is talking about animals' realm here, right? Beheaded, butchering pigs and cows and sheep and whatnots. So he said, for a long, long time, you have been cows, and when as cows you were beheaded, the stream of blood is greater than that in the four great oceans. Can you imagine how many lives that we have been wandering in the past before we become human being in this lifetime? I was just talking to KS this afternoon when we were talking about near-death experience. And I said, yeah, most of the near-death experience, they really did not talk about the animal world. But I have read a book many years ago, maybe 10 years ago, on near-death experience, written by an American neurosurgeon. And I remember the book is called Proof of Heaven. And he himself went through near-death experience, and he actually experienced animal realm and heavenly realm. You look up that, I used to have that book, but I couldn't find it just now in my bookshelves. It may be somewhere in the boxes still. But it's called Proof of Heaven. It's a very interesting book, and it was written by him after he actually came back out from this near-death experience, which lasted for quite some time. Can't remember, for a month or so, or a couple of months, can't remember. That was too long ago. But anyway, so even though that we could not remember our past life, but we've got to come from somewhere, right? We've got to come from somewhere. And that's why it's such precious, such a treasure to be living as a human being, because where we come from, we definitely have quite a bit of merits and virtues in order to be reborn as a human being, and also to be able to listen, to hear the teachings, and also to be able to practice the teachings. So there must be a lot of merits in there. So don't allow your merits to go down the drain, please. Okay? So he said, for a long time, you have been buffaloes, sheep, goats, and deer, chickens, and pigs. The Buddha wasn't cursing us. It could be really, really true. And he was just stating the facts. So this whole passage about that we have been cows and chickens, or we have been arrested as burglars and all that, is actually reinforcing to tell us that the idea of the world, there are actually animals, there are wholesome beings, there are unwholesome beings. And we have been wandering, we have been roaming for a long, long time before we come to this lifetime. So always bear in mind the right view, that there is no first point. It's very difficult to find a first point, and it's not necessary to find that first point. What is important is right here, right now, this lifetime. Okay, so the Buddha said, for such a long time, these monks have experienced so much anguish, so much suffering, disaster, which swell the cemeteries. So he said, just by knowing, just by understanding, just by hearing, just by seeing this, it is enough to become disenchanted. That means to become discouraged, to discourage us to actually to be reborn to whatever, to become whatever. That means that the 12 links of dependent origination, we actually wanted to dissect ourselves from these 12 links, especially the 8th link of becoming. Okay, 8th or 9th, can't remember. Becoming. So remember that when the monks actually listen to this, it actually wakes them up so strongly, and they right there at that moment become liberated. So here they are so delighted, and these 30 monks, all from Pava, were liberated because by hearing these teachings. So bear in mind, this first point is not discerned, and beings are hindered by ignorance and fettered by craving. That's what we are all the time. And we have experienced suffering, but are we awakened? Are we awakened by these sufferings? We are not yet awaken. So he said, enough to become disenchanted with all formations. That means becoming whatever. No, when we have craving, when we start to cling on, then we will become a different person, a different being. Okay, so that's why you have listened to that Saturday talk, the 6 A's, right? The 6 A's of at peace. What is the last A? I hope you will remember. Acceptance? No. Yes?
Abandon.
Good. Oh, thank you, Titania. Abandon, that means letting go, detaching. Letting go, detaching, that means we don't want to become. Yeah? We don't want to become. That's actually very important. Because once we start to, if we cannot detach, when we cannot abandon in the sense of detachment, remember, because I think that's the best word I can find to make it an A. So that's why I use that word. So abandon, that means we just want to let go of everything that we hold on to, whether it's people, whether it's situations, whether it's fame, whether it's wealth, whether it's our body. We just want to let go, because if we do not let go, then we'll go on round and round and round and round. Okay? So to become dispassionate towards them and enough to be liberated from them. Once we start to let go, then we would, hopefully, we would be liberating from them. So the little that we can let go, the little that we become liberated. So the more that we can let go, the more we will become liberated. So it really depends on us, not depends on others. It really depends on us. Okay, so I have the little reflections. So what did the Buddha mean by this beginningless stream of tears in this human world? Nobody? Anybody? Can you maybe make it bigger? Make the screen bigger? Spotlight the slide, can you? Oh, can you spotlight me? I mean, spotlight Polam? Oh, you can. Oh, I see. All right. Okay. So what did the Buddha mean by this beginningless stream of tears in this human world? And what does a liberated person suggest us to do to deal with this situation? Nora? Yes? Jonathan, you have something to say first? Okay.
Speaking to the unending cycle.
Unending cycle, yeah.
In the first half.
Yes.
Unending cycle.
Unending cycle, yes.
And a liberated person suggesting to deal with this by ending it, ending the one's tears by removing from the cycle.
Okay, good. Yeah, removing yourself from the cycle. Good, thank you. Nora, you have something to say?
No, exactly what he said. It's, samsara.
Samsara, yeah.
Yeah.
Ending yourself.
And realizing the causes of suffering and the path to the end of suffering.
Good. So how can you, okay, You want to realize the cause of sufferings, and you want to come out from the sufferings. So, do you think, besides this liberation, spiritual liberation, or the path that the Buddha taught us, how to liberate ourselves or how to come out from this roundabout of samsaras, besides those, do you think that in the mundane world, any mundane therapies could help us to deal with these painful and stressful situations as effective, as effective and as efficient? Laurie?
As effective as meditation?
As anything that you think, as effective, as efficient as anything that the Buddha has taught us?
No, there isn't anything.
Really?
In the mundane world, I don't believe there is.
Oh.
I think that in the mundane world, we're doing things to try and appease our suffering and to ease our suffering, but really the truth of it is we have to follow the path. And the only way we can do that is through our practice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are things that we can do in the mundane world that are helpful.
Yes.
But not as helpful.
Okay.
How about that?
Yeah. Yes, Eva?
Well, any mundane kind of therapies aim to keep you in the world where there is the suffering.
Yeah.
But the Buddha's teachings, he's saying, no, you don't want to stay there anyway.
Yeah, right, yeah. Eva said that all the mundane therapies actually try to help you to keep you in the world. Right? Huh? Right? Whereas the Buddha's teachings is say, you don't want to stay in this world. You want to be liberated from this world. Right? Good. Okay. Okay, Jeremy, next one. And then next one is Mali. Yeah.
I also think it depends on where we're at in our own ability to learn.
Yes.
I think of Dana, and she has a trouble at times grasping a lot of what Buddha's trying to teach. She's not good with similes and that type of thing. But she's planting those seeds in her, and then day-to-day therapy is very, very nourishing for her because it calms her down and allows those seeds to grow. So I think a lot of it is on an independent level where our own understandings lie as well.
Of course, yes. Because it cannot be forced upon. Because if they don't like it or they cannot take it, and even though you try to force it onto them, there's no way that they will benefit. Right? And yeah, so with this, it's really funny. You can go back to look at karma. You know, whether they have the seeds from the past life that brings on to this lifetime, and when they encounter these teachings, whether they can take it on or they cannot take it on. Right? So everything is all interconnected together. Right? Great. Thank you, Jeremy and Mali.
I was wondering whether we try to make an effort to let go of things and seeing things as they are.
Yeah.
No, in order to see things, we have to realize there's no such thing called self.
Yes.
Even the one that, human beings as we are, sometimes we are categorized into 32 parts.
Yes.
And sometimes it's 4 parts.
Yes.
Solid, fluid, and the heat and air.
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah.
So when you realize that,
yeah.
Your attachments will go away, and then consequently you will Again, there will be greed, and that leads to all the suffering.
Yes, yes, yes. But saying is so easy, isn't it?
Saying things is easier.
Yeah. Yeah, saying is so easy, and then when we have to do it, it becomes such a challenging task, isn't it? But at least at least we know on a literal basis, we study these teachings, and it rings a bell once in a while, and it's better than not ringing at all, right? So that's the most important is don't let your mind go too loose, too far away, and always come, bring it back, and always tie the mind back onto these teachings as much as possible. Okay, as when we, I think one I have a takeaway from this this chapter is. What I really like is all these mundane things that we see. We know they are so impermanent and so unpredictable, and really, sometimes I say, wow, really, we really should not attach to it so much. And at that time, I could see why the Buddha said, this is enough to become disenchanted. And this is enough to become dispassionate. And this is enough to be liberated from them. Once you see that, you just when you see their sufferings, you just don't want to hold on anymore. Not to hold on to this human life, is to hold on to that suffering, and to whatever causes that bring on that suffering. You said, wow, yes, Irene?
So I still remember your talk on Saturday, you were saying suffering is optional.
Yes.
So, yeah, it just depends on your view. And then you attach to it or you want to let go.
Exactly.
So it's your choice.
Yeah.
Optional.
Yeah. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional, isn't it? That's what I said on Saturday. Yeah. So pain, really, whatever pain we experience, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, it really, because the mental pain causes the sufferings. The mental pain is equal to sufferings, but the physical pain is inevitable. When we get old, the body really goes down. That is inevitable, but the mental pain is optional. We can actually sustain ourselves on a more balanced mind and less reactive. Okay, great. Let us dedicate our merits. May these blessings extend to all, that we, with all the other living beings, together will attain the Buddha way. May we wish more and more people will encounter the words of the Buddha, study them, understand them, practice them, use them to liberate themselves from their sufferings and be truly happy and peaceful.